Welcome to the Tap Project Podcast, the place where gaming meets blockchain and everything in the middle. Now, here's your hosts, the Tap Bros.
Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. Welcome to another Tap Bros podcast. I'm your host, Haniff.
And I'm your host, Hugh. We've got another exciting show for you. So let's suit up.
Let's suit up. Thank you guys for tuning in to another Tap Bros podcast episode in this special bi-weekly podcast, or every second week or something like that. We, the Tap Bros, come together to talk about Tapcoin, gaming, blockchain and gaming, and everything in the middle. Hugh, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. You know what? It was a great week. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling happy. I can't complain. Life is good. How are you?
That's good. I'm doing well as well. We had some snow down in Vancouver. Did you get
Yeah.
out?
Yeah, for a little. I got out for a little, and then it got kind of cold. It was really cold. So didn't stay out for too long, but I did venture out, slide around for a bit. It was nice.
Nice. Yeah, it was our first snowfall for this winter. And I think we've had another one since then. It's actually snowing probably right now, but that's good. It's nice and cold, it's got some hot chocolate near the fireplace, warm up, but that's good that you got out to enjoy it. So we got a banging show for you guys today. Thank you guys again for tuning in. We got a hot show, as I said. Today we're going to be talking about Ethereum Gas. That's a big topic that's going on right now. We're going to also be discussing our new article that we just released that was pretty hot. We're going to be touching on that. So please, if you guys do want to hear more about the Tapcoins, stick around, because we're going to be talking about the Tapcoin NFT Portal. We're going to be talking about NFTs. We're going to be talking about kind of the state of the union, so to speak, or where we're going next with the Tapcoin, and kind of what that means. But that's going to be closer to the end of the show. So make sure you guys tune in for that. And one more thing that I like, we're going to be talking about as well, is the fan-controlled football league. So that's going to be on some of our topics today. So tune in and stick around. If you guys haven't already, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, follow, heart, wherever you guys are watching or listening to us on Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcast. Thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe if you do like what we're talking about, or find us funny or hilarious, or don't like us all. Hit that like, leave a comment, whatever you guys like to do.
Yeah, if you don't like us, just listen to us anyways.
Might as well, right?
Yeah, you might as well just listen to us and then just hate on us. It's all good. We still love you.
We still love you. So we'll get right into the show. And again, if you guys have not heard our show, we're going to be hitting off with the Market Minute.
Yep, this is where you got 1 minute to cover the markets. You ready?
I'm ready.
Go.
All right. So last week I talked about strictly, the whole GameStop fiasco. Today, in this show, I'm going to be talking about Ethereum, because I do think, when I speak about Ethereum, I'm going to be talking about Ethereum and Bitcoin. I do think we're reaching a resistance point kind of around that 1870 for Ethereum, and Bitcoin saw a big resistance point around that 50K milestone. We almost hit it over the weekend. We got to, I think, like 49,400. But I do see that there's going to be a small pullback, especially for Ethereum, into the possible 1670, 1680 mark. If we can kind of hover around there, we'll be able to maintain and kind of keep our upward trend. This is not a downtrend at all, but this is just a healthy recovery to allow people to build some more bags if they do want. We are seeing the trend kind of slow down a little bit, but I do think that we'll hover in around here, allow people to acquire more, and be continuing the upward trend. This is not an end to the upward trend. This is just a healthy place and healthy recovery for people to pick up more bags.
Ooh, nice. That was great. Really good. I think you covered quite a lot in a minute, so that was fantastic. I think everybody has learned something And if you haven't been tuning in, tune in for the Market Minute. At least it's a minute of your time, a minute of your day. Listen to us, chat about the markets. So what do we have on the board? What's our first item?
Our first item today, we're going to be talking about Ethereum Gas and
Yeah.
gas on a whole. We're going to definitely be talking about Ethereum because Ethereum is still one of the hottest blockchains out there right now. A lot of people are still using it. There's a lot of transactions still going on, even with kind of the whole gas issues. But let's talk about that. Maybe first, Hugh, you can help us out. What is gas?
Well, to put it simply, gas is referring to the fees. It's not like gas that you put in your car. So you don't worry, you don't need to go out and buy blockchain gas to put in your car. Basically, it
What?
just yeah, I know. It refers to the fees or the price value that's required every time you want to conduct a transaction on the Ethereum blockchain, and it basically pays the miners and gives them a bit of an incentive to continue to use their super-powered machines to process all these transactions and keep the Ethereum blockchain network going.
That's a good explanation.
Yeah,
So
that's
when
it.
I acquire gas, is it anything physical or is it on the same Ethereum network?
It's on the same Ethereum network. It's usually you usually encounter it when you're doing a transaction. Let's say, for example, you're on MetaMask and you want to send me some ETH. I'm in need of some ETH, so send me some ETH. Then usually through MetaMask, as you're putting in the address who you're sending it to, it requires a bit of gas, and so you'll see gas toll. Now those that are new to the space will usually take the default beep bop and send it off. And those that are more have been around for a while, they usually check out Ethereum gas station, see what the prices are, see what there's different levels. If you want to jump ahead in the queue, you can obviously increase the amount of gas that you're putting. Or if you just want to go with the flow, you just take what you're given. Or if you don't mind waiting until things have gotten lower, you can set your gas slightly lower. It'll get picked up, but it might not get picked up right away, and you're okay with that.
Okay. So just to kind of, if I do got this correct, it's a way it's something that's used to kind of move things along in the network. It's something that's used to facilitate transactions, facilitate, approvals, so to speak. But it is very necessary on the Ethereum network. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, it's the way things move. It's the way things get done. It's the way your transactions get sent. It's the use. It's what you'd call the utility use of uh, the Ethereum network, and in gas, on Ethereum, it's ETH or ETH. Some people pronounce it differently, ETH. So
Okay, nice. So I'll jump back on and put on my advanced cap here. Why are we talking about Ethereum gas? Um, Ethereum, as I just said in the market minute, I think it went highs of like 1868, 1868. Um, and with that, so did gas. It didn't go 1868, but gas went up to like, I think on the weekend, I paid a transaction for like $60.
ooh.
Just one normal contract transaction, $60.
If you haven't played Roblox, my favorite sound on Roblox is when one of the little Roblox character guys dies and it just makes a sound. Oof.
Ugh, that is a oof. Insert noise here.
Yeah, yeah,
Right? It's
exactly.
gas has been uh, we saw it and we've mentioned it on this podcast before. We had the CryptoKitty days, we had the Uniswap launch days, and those days seem so far now. Those days seem like
Those
way
are
in
the
the
good
past,
days. Those are the good
right?
days.
When you talk about Uniswap having fees of $25, and CryptoKitties having fees of during the CryptoKitties congestion having fees of $10, and now we're getting into no congestion, just pricing, and now we're getting into pricing of, $70 on a normal day, probably $30, $40 on a normal low GUI day. So we'll get into what it means and why we're bringing this up, but I think this is good though. And allow me to explain. I think this is good, and I think this will only encourage innovation in the space.
Mm.
I think
Yeah,
we'll have
I agree.
developers building more things to focus on gas, because gas isn't going to be forever. But what we do know is that people will find innovative ways to assist with that gas, or to cover the fees, or to help with users, or to help with their products and projects. Um, but definitely, while we're in this state of figuring it out and in this state of development, um, gas is quite high.
Yeah, it's one of those scenarios where transactions need to happen on a blockchain to stay a relevant and a successful blockchain, right? That's the point of it, for us to be able to transact, to send and receive. And so there needs to be something that continues to fuel and provide some benefit for all this horsepower to do it, because a decentralized system is exactly what it is: decentralized, many pieces working together. And so for those that are allowing their pieces to facilitate this transaction, there's got to be some type of reward, and we understand that. So and you brought up a really good point. There are different ways, and you'll hear language about layer 2. You'll hear about proof of stake versus proof of work. You'll hear about sharding. All these things have different effects in trying to solve, I guess you could say, quote unquote, solve the potential gas problem, or the gas problems that we see out there. I know in what we do for our community is allowing when you stake, or when you farm, you get data, and that helps to reduce and cut down the cost of gas by 30 to 50%. So it kind of helps, and we've got layer 2 built into our platform as well, and into many different things. So I think a lot of projects have identified that early on, and they're doing their best to help the community, and to make sure that Ethereum stays where it is on top for developers and for the community space.
Yeah, and I being in the Ethereum space and being in the blockchain space for this long, I'm actually unfortunately used to it. And what I mean by used to it is I'm accustomed to paying gas because I need something to be moved along on chain. So whatever the gas cost is, I will pay it, unless it's astronomical, or unless I'm looking at gas tracker, and I've noticed that I'm actually doing this transaction at the highest possible point. I'm actually used to and okay with paying the gas cost, because as I said, as you noted, Hugh, as well, it is necessary to move transaction along on chain. Um, and it's funny enough that developers and we have always been trying to solve the issue on gas, not because we saw it as a bad thing, but we just saw it as something that we constantly need to be innovating, or constantly need to be figuring out. But now it's just come to the point, because Ethereum is so high, and that's great, that there's value there. But now it seems like there's a little bit more of a issue for bringing on new users. And what I mean by that is, now you're getting users who are just coming into the space, that are loving your ideas, that are loving other projects' ideas, what projects are bringing. And then they're like, oh, I, put, $25 of ETH, I spent $25 worth of ETH on my credit card, but now I have to spend $50 for this transaction to, purchase this collectible card. That's the unfortunate part that we're seeing right now. Me as a developer, and I know Hugh, maybe you the same, we're used to it, but it's really the new members and new community that we're building that we need to really try and figure it out for.
Yeah, 100%. You raise a very good point. Like, we've been through a few of these, and we sort of know that it's not gonna stay high forever. There are innovations, and that's the great thing. Innovation. There are very, very cool things happening to try and resolve this. But for the new person stepping in, you out there getting into it, trying to figure it out, and having to, figure out $60 worth to process a transaction, it's a tough pill to swallow. And it's a hard thing to try and wrap your mind around. Why do I gotta pay so much when I just want to send a few or get a couple, tokens or altcoins, and now I've got to spend $60 in ETH just to get this. So, but it's one of those. It's all part of being in something that's new, being in a space that's still relatively new, still relatively unexplored, still has so much potential left in it. So these are things we'll work out, and I'm very confident that we'll figure this out, and we'll come up with some cool and interesting ways to solve it.
You are right, and we are going to be talking about one of those cool and interesting ways to solve this gas problem. But that's going to be coming up later on the show. So stick around for that. That's going to be talking about, as we said, and as we release the article, the Tapcoin NFT Portal, which does help gas costs related to NFT transactions. NFTs are doing pretty big right now. So again, we will solve that issue, and we do talk about that, and we will be talking about a little bit later on in the show. But for now, let's move on to our next thing that we want to talk about, and that is the Fan Control Football League that debuted over the weekend. Did you see it at all?
No, I didn't get a chance to check it out, but it's definitely on my list of things to do. I know when we first stepped into space, um, this kind of popped up, and we were like, "Oh, this is a pretty cool idea." And then it kind of disappeared for a bit. I think they went and did a few things, made a few modifications, kind of build up, and then boom, they're back. And I think it's actually a really, really good time for them. Did you have a chance to take a look?
Yeah, I saw a few moments of the last game. I know there's some ex NFL players in there. And for those of you guys who do not know what I'm talking about in terms of the fan controlled football league, we're talking about American football, and we're talking about the ability for fans. And in this case, pre-COVID, it was fans in the audience, but in this case, all fans on Twitch or anyone with an app has the ability to participate by drafting a team, drafting players, being a part of the team, and then going as far as creating um, plays or voting for specific plays on offense and defense. So if you, for example, like the team Raptors, you can actually vote for a specific play that you want the players to do. So again, this is American football. So if you want them to throw, you can vote for this team to throw. If you want them to run, you can vote for them to run. And it's actually in real time. One of the funny things that I was watching is as the votes were coming in and as fans were getting to vote and pick what they wanted, I didn't actually have the app, or I don't actually have a team, so I wasn't able to see it live and see kind of how the app works, but I might be able to download that to kind of see because I'm interested in it. But you actually saw players running on and off the field and kind of coordinating with their coach to figure out what the play is going to be. Like, it was so real time that, one player would come on because this is kind of what the plays might be, and then they kind of quickly run off because the plays changed, just based on all the fan votes.
Yeah, you know what? It's a very, very interesting concept. Like I think it's got so much potential in so many different areas. It'll be one of those things where a lot of people are watching to see how this will play out, how they'll do. Because giving, I think everybody is what do you call it? A passenger when they're watching sports. You've got, oh no, he shouldn't have done that play. He should have done this, or no, they shouldn't have passed. They should have ran. And so now it gives them the opportunity to actually participate in that and sort of have a bit of control, and sort of maybe see something that the teams don't see in a play. So really cool concept, really good ideas, and it's super. It's something that I'm going to keep an eye on just to see how it plays out and how it can sort of move through different sports and maybe different areas or ideas, right?
Yeah, and again we bring this up because we've talked about, I think maybe about now 2 months ago, 2, 3 months ago, fan tokens and how teams and sports were beginning to bring on fan tokens, and although those were blockchain ideas, and this is not completely blockchain idea as yet, but this is super cool to actually see it actually go through because, you know, as I said, I think it was just last month we talked about Juventus fan tokens and how they're using that to, vote for pizza or vote for, the motto of the game and what that would be. So I think we're actually going to see a big shift in where this might take sports, especially right now while people are at home and unable to actually go out to all sporting events. Having that ability to have something vested in a team and you really want your team to win, so you're going to want it as enough to vote on it, to encourage your team to actually participate in draft days, to go through the whole motion. um if this actually does kick off, if production goes through, if production is spot on, if the refs are spot on, if the quality is spot on, I'm calling it. If this actually does go through, I I think we're gonna see a huge change in sports across the board. Um, and I really think that because of COVID not allowing fans to be really in the environment, this is gonna build a sense of community with everybody who are watching. You now are going to be sitting at home and feel like you're involved with everybody else that you would normally participate in when you went to a sporting event. Imagine going to a sporting event and being shoulder to shoulder with another fan of yours. And actually, it's crazy that in Vancouver we have the Canucks. If or Canucks or Whitecaps or BC Lions, if you go to any of those games and your team scores, no matter who you're sitting beside, even if you don't know them, what are you doing, Hugh?
You're throwing up the high
You're
fives.
throwing out the high five. There you go. That's it, right? And so when you get that at home and your team scores and you know that there's, even if it's, 5,000 other people that are part of your team that have voted the right way, you are getting pumped. And now you're just getting pumped on Twitch, but you're still getting pumped. You're feeling like you're belonging. So I honestly do think, and that's why I'm kind of not obsessed, but that's I'm really focus on this kind of this league if it actually does go through and produce, because I really do think this can actually change the way games and sports and everything are played. And as we always do, we like to throw out tidbits. Imagine adding blockchain and cryptocurrency to that. I'll leave it there.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. So I was gonna say, for teams looking to drive, especially in this sort of COVID environment where, like you said, we can't get out to a lot of sporting events, to drive interaction. This is as interactive and as good as it gets because now you've got your user base, your fan base peeled to the TV. And now you don't want to get up and roam around because if you do, you might miss a call that you need to help make, right? So
You
now
might
you
miss that call, and if you
right,
miss that call and your team makes a bad play, oh,
you're gonna be upset. So I think this is awesome. In terms of interactivity and just talk and just connecting teams and their fan base. I think this could be huge done right. And you're not gonna get, aside from running onto the field, you're not gonna get any more interactive and involved in your team's sporting events than this. And that's that.
that is that. And some might say, oh, why are you guys talking about this? Oh, but this actually shows that these guys were, as Hugh mentioned, they were around as well, kind of when we started and we kind of heard about them. And as Hugh talked about, they kind of disappeared for a couple years. They tested kind of their concept and prototype in arena football, um, with one team, and then they pulled out and disappeared for about 2 3 years and hit the ground working. And the reason I mention that is because that's exactly what we're doing. We have built such a foundation with the Tap project, and we'll get into that a little bit, just kind of nice segue, but we built such a foundation that has allowed us to build the foundation, put in all the effort in the designs that we need in terms of the construction, the meat and potatoes, the technology, and then when the time is out, get there and hit it. And that's what we're doing. That is our plan and our goal for 2021. Um, so we can kind of actually just jump straight into it. And I know now this is the time that you guys have been waiting for to talk about the Tapcoin. But first, before I get into that, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that follow button, share it. If you guys have made it this far, I maybe we're doing something right, but don't forget to give us that support and love. We really appreciate it. Now, the moment of truth. We talked about the NFT portal, right, Hugh?
Yes, yes, the NFT portal. You know, this is I'm going to go slowly and take my time on this because this is a very exciting piece of the puzzle for us, and I think for the blockchain cryptocurrency space. Um, and we did put a Medium article out there that was received very, very well by the community and very, very well by different users outside the project coming in. The ability to go from blockchain to blockchain with your NFT is huge. And I
It's
say
absolutely
that's
huge.
yeah, and I say it slowly because I want it to kind of set in. I want it to impact. I've got my NFT on Ethereum, and I'm moving it to another blockchain to use something there. So let's say the gas prices on Ethereum are high. They'll never be high, right? Let's just say, for our example. And I've got a bunch of NFTs that I want to perhaps sell or use on adapt on a different blockchain. Using the NFT or Stargate, this is our internal, this is what we're calling it. I can now move my NFTs across to a different blockchain and utilize that system until gas prices are somewhere that I feel happy with, and then I can move them back.
That is a very well constructed statement. And I appreciate you going slow and really actually diving into that. But for those of you who might not know what an NFT is, it's a non-fungible token. It's not all jazzy. It doesn't actually slide off the tongue. It's kind of technical right now, but it's called a non-fungible token. And it's a unique token that represents an asset. It can be any asset on the blockchain. It could be a in-game item. It could be a collectible. It could be a something that's similar to like a Pokemon card. Could be music. Anything that represents a unique asset on the blockchain. And why this is important, as Hugh mentioned, is because in the blockchain gaming world, one of the biggest things that people have been trying to do is create cross play games. So they want to be able to create one game. Let's take like an RPG, for example. They want to be able to create an RPG game similar to, Diablo, WoW, anything like that. Build your character, level up your character, get swords, get shields, get armor, get all that. Be able to take those pieces, which would be NFT items or NFT tokens, and be able to transfer them to a new game. So imagine you build your character up in WoW, World of Warcraft, or any other or sort of RPG or MMO. You then transfer that character to Diablo or to any other game and continue to build and use it. That is kind of the goal of blockchain gaming. And that's kind of what a lot of companies are focusing on or trying to achieve. How else can you do that without transferring or using it on chain or moving to other chains or connecting or building that interoperability? What we're saying is with the NFT portal, with the Stargate, internally named as Stargate, with the NFT portal, users will be able to play a game. You love a game on Ethereum, for example, take like Axie Infinity. Play that game. Build your little Axies in there. Level up. Take that little guy, that NFT, play in Splinterlands, play in any other game on a different blockchain because that's Hive and Ethereum. We're making that possible. We are making that, not only are we making that possible, but we're making it and allowing users to save up to 60% in any gas associated costs. I repeat, we are making it possible to allow you to convert and transfer your in-game NFTs that are on any blockchain that uses NFTs to any other blockchain.
You know, a lot of a lot of projects have been trying to solve this problem, and what they've bumped into, or the main problems they've bumped into, is the fees to get it. How do you get it across? How do you move it seamlessly? Do I have to add a new blockchain? Do I have to go onto a new blockchain? And I think the way we've done it is to be able to, first of all, optimize and save to move from one blockchain to another. Interoperability is crazy in itself. Let's just take that first picture. Moving a digital asset from one chain to another, that's all siloed. Like right now, I think, and we say it we joked about all the time on the other podcast. Hey, can somebody please create a way for us, for our users to move from one chain to the other? Let's just get along. Until we finally said, you know what, enough's enough. Let's just do it ourselves. Let's just create. Nobody's doing it, so let's just create it. And so, being able to move your assets, your digital assets, from one blockchain, one chain to another chain, and still use it. And not only that, to do it at a reduced cost, 60% less gas than it would take to move on from, on Ethereum itself. Just sending one NFT to another person on the Ethereum network, we're talking sending this to a different chain, and 60% less is just huge, and it's super exciting. And I'm, we're always big, we're very humble, and we don't really, toot our horns too often. But I think this is one of those scenarios where interoperability and utilizing just key pieces and just innovating and doing it in a way that is pushing the space and allowing NFTs to become a platform for 2021, I think is one of one of the greatest pieces that we can help offer, as a tap platform, reaching out to the other chains to say, hey, and to the other users to say, hey, now it doesn't matter where you live. Let's all get along.
I think when we first came into this, and Hugh, you made a great point about we don't often toot our horns and everything. One of our first things that we always say is under promise and over deliver. We've always done that from the inception. We've under promised all our products and we've over delivered. We're not going to change that, but this is crazy. When we first came in, we started with the concept of we want to be able to convert in-game currencies from one game to the next. Off chain, on chain, have that ability for users to, have their currency traverse multiple platforms, multiple games. when we came in, I'll say this transparently. We're always transparent here. We didn't think that we would be, well, actually, we didn't think that there would be such an issue with new blockchains popping up. If you would have asked me, when I first came into the space, if there would be, hundreds of other blockchains out there, by this time, I would never have guessed it. But what we're finding out that same problem that we wanted to solve with all these different games and hundreds and thousands and millions of games out there in the world, we're seeing that within the blockchain community and within the chains themselves. And who better to solve that problem than us? We have been focused around kind of in-game conversions and traversions and bringing currencies from one game to the next. And this literally, if not fallen on our lap, but this is something that is almost meant for us to be able to support chains and to be able to act in the same way that we try and support games and build that connectivity, to build that connectivity within blockchains. So we have been doing this from the very beginning, but now we are just seeing this opportunity here. Um, I read somewhere on a comment that said, oh, NFTs are just, a niche market. It's a fad. It's a trend. It's something that's going to go away. I actually don't think it will. I actually do think that we're going to be trying, and a lot of blockchains are going to be trying to build NFTs into something that's larger, whether it's a large game, a game like World of Warcraft or Diablo or, Division or Destiny, some of these big titles, building NFTs around them. Regardless of that, what I'm going to say is we have a short-term goal and we have a long-term goal. We've built the long-term goal surrounded with the foundation and the platform, with the design, with Steam integration, connectivity, with the Unreal Engine, Unity SDKs. We have all those things steady, rock steady, ready to go. And then we have the NFT market that's currently booming. We have an opportunity here, and we've found the ability that we can assist all these change, and that's exactly what we're doing. Using this short term, building on the NFTs, we believe that NFTs are going to be a huge success in the gaming industry and especially blockchain gaming. Pushing with that, integrating with that, with our entire foundation that we have already. Um, and I'm not going to say it's going to be a straight, home run or easy. There's obviously, hurdles and things that we go through, but this is a huge step for blockchain gaming. This is a huge step for us, and I will be the first one to say that I'm super excited about where this can go. Um, if maybe I'll say it,
Say
chains, blockchains, any blockchain, Binance, Hive, Wax,
it
Ethereum,
doesn't
obviously.
matter. It does. It
Doesn't
doesn't.
matter.
It doesn't matter.
Flow. We are here to assist and support. We are here to build this larger connectivity. It's not just going to be all about us. It's not all about Tapcoin. It's about building the connectivity and actually seeing this thing through. I would be super excited if I saw a day, where um, you play I don't know, some game on Flow Chain, and then you take that and you move it to Binance, and then you play over there, you level up your NFT, and then boom, you bump it onto Ethereum, you play some more, play different game, bumped up the NFT, and then because Wax has a pretty good marketplace, you push it on Wax and sell it. That would be awesome.
that
That is the goal.
that's huge. That's huge, and I think we've always been the uh, bridging of technology. That's been our nice sweet spot. We've always been connecting different pieces, the unconnected, uh, games and blockchain users and points. We've always bridged those gaps and created technology and created simple technologies and useful technologies for our user base that they can navigate to do these things. And so this is just a natural progression, and to kind of go back to the niche comment, let's be honest, everything was a niche when it started. Podcasting was a niche when it started, and look where it's now. Streaming, who knew Netflix would overtake so many, right? Like they all started out as a niche. Even search engines were a niche. So I don't think it's necessarily a niche. I think it's called a growing environment, right? That's how success is built. You start small and you build up. And so NFTs in its current state is building. And so what we want to do is to help uh, to help help it expand and help it grow. We're trying to knock down all the limitations. So the ability to move your digital assets from one chain to the other, or the asset that it was created on, the blockchain that it was created on, doesn't have to be the blockchain that it stays on. It doesn't have to be the blockchain that it was sold on. It doesn't have to be the blockchain that it was played on. That's huge. Like, let me say that again. The NFT, the blockchain it was created on, does not have to be the blockchain that it was sold on. And that does not have to be the blockchain that it was traded on. And it does not have to be the same blockchain that it gets played on.
Oh, mic drop. That's a good line.
Right? I like it. That's why I had to
Did you just make
repeat
that
it.
up yourself right now?
It just flew into my head, and I'm like, dang, at least I got it recorded. We got to use that. Okay. All right.
We're definitely
noted.
going to be using that.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's done. Done deal.
No, Hugh, you are exactly right. And I think that is kind of where we are. And people might say, oh, you guys are changing, you're pivoting. No, we're actually just realizing that something that we created or something that we came into the industry to do, we're actually just realizing that there's other problems there and we are actually the solution. It would be poor for us to just stay within our spot when we are actually seeing an opportunity for us to capitalize on and be innovative figure in this space. As I said, we were initially coming on to kind of bridge the gap between games. Now we just found an opportunity to be able to bridge the gap between chains. From game to chain to
that's
game.
on
Oh man, on a roll.
On a roll. And that's it. You hit you hit it on the head. We bridge gaps. That is what Tap does. It bridges gaps in technology. And that's what we're doing, and that's what we're continuing doing. So are we pivoting? No, we're not even pivoting. We're staying exactly on course, bridging gaps between games and blockchain, users and points, chain and chain.
It's actually very crazy to think, and really, it only comes from lifting up your head and opening your eyes and seeing the large picture and seeing that what you've been working on in this let's call it a small little circle is actually a part of a bigger circle, but it's a small part in there. And if you just kind of open up, you can actually see that if you just expand that circle, it's exact same bubble, industry, users, development, companies, partners. So when we're talking about this, I know we're going on about it, but this just kind of expands into growing where we are, where we know we fall between. We have no problem saying we're not a game developer. We are not, a game publisher or anything along those lines. As Hugh said, we came in here to bridge the gap, and we are just finding we can drastically bridge the gap between chains, between games, and actually create this thing that everyone is trying to do. This thing that everyone is trying to do. We're done with kind of siloing communities and siloing tokens, and it just build the technology because you actually guys do want to see the whole industry kind of flourish. Don't shut people down because their token price is too high or too low. Bridge the gap, create the industry, work together, partner together, and push forward. And with that saying, we do have some partners. We haven't announced them, and we've been quiet on them. But the Great NFT Hunt is still coming out, quarter 2, and this will be met by not only us.